great idea over the weekend. She said, we're all sitting around the table, and she's like, how about this, guys? She's like, let's do theme nights. I'm like, oh, here we go. And she's like, we'll theme out every meal based on a different country. And the kids loved it. The kids got so excited. And I said, I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot of North Korea nights if we don't get the likes and subscribes up. So hit like and subscribe. No. What? I get it. It's just there's a lot of famine.
Yeah.
It was every good joke is rooted in some reality. So that's what I dropped. I did have to explain it to the 4-year-old. Don't worry. I put it in terms she could understand.
She got it.
It's like, America is like the stepsisters. North Korea is like Cinderella, except no fairies. And she was like, oh, God. I was like, yeah.
She's just stuck in the first part of the movie forever.
Yeah, it's like, that's it. That's pretty much it. She's like, that's dark, Dad. No. So hit like and subscribe if you don't want North Korea night at the Chris Hand household. So,
please.
Although, I mean, listen, it'll teach them something. They'll learn. I don't know what the lesson is. But they'll get there. They'll be all right. Learn how to persevere. Fasting is actually really good for you kids. So deal with it. Hit like and subscribe. We appreciate you doing so. There's a lot to get to. Apparently, AOC was like freezing her eggs over the weekend on Instagram, which is like just creepy and weird.
Why?
I don't know. Like, why do we need to make this a public thing?
Keep that private.
She's like shooting up her belly. Why do you need to take a shot in the belly to freeze your eggs? I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. For all I know, it was Ozempic. But it's crazy. So we'll talk about that. Not really about that, but about AOC. She's going to run for president, isn't she?
Yeah.
AOC is going to run for president. Maybe she'll run 2 races at the same time, where she'll run for Chuck Schumer's Senate seat and she'll run for president. Is there any rules against that? Google me. Google it. You, back there in the producer studio. Google it. Is there a rule? Maybe there's a rule against that. If there isn't, I could see her doing both. But on the freezing the eggs thing, here's what I don't understand. Here's what I don't get. This is the same woman who basically cried on stage because the future was going to be ruined for all of the children because of climate change. There was going to be fires raining down from the heavens and hurricanes that will sweep up coastal cities and earthquakes that would shatter dreams. And just sub-zero temperatures that would last for months on end, and all the changes in the climate. So you're evil to have kids in this kind of a situation. And then she's like, by the way, I'm freezing my eggs because the future's looking pretty good. Got it. Can you run for both offices?
In 27 states, a candidate is either allowed or not explicitly prohibited from running for both presidency and Congress simultaneously. In the other 23, you cannot.
What about New York? See, like, Mason's like, oh, okay, let me Google a little bit more.
New York, you can.
All right, so she's going to run for both. She's going to, dude, I would. Wouldn't I mean, let's just be real.
Well, she didn't want to put all her eggs in one basket.
No. Whoa. That's good.
That's all I'm here for.
Don't count those chickens.
Really good.
Right?
I'm impressed.
That was pretty good. I would run for both.
I mean, yeah, I can't blame her.
Right? Like, if you had the money and the political clout, and I know that people are going to roll their eyes, but she does, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's an actually good idea, but I can't blame her for trying.
I'm going to be the best president senator ever. That's just the campaign slogan. That's it.
Is ever spelled EVA?
Eva.
Eva.
And a picture of Andre 3000 just like in the back corner.
Just faded in the back.
Yeah, just Andre like looking down from the clouds like he's He's still here. He's still with us.
Yeah, he's not.
But that's what they should do.
Is it a look of disappointment, though? That's what I want to know.
No, I think it would be like I don't know. Do you think Andre 3000 votes? We only tackle the hard-hitting issues here on Super Talk. If I was a betting man, I would be like, I would imagine, and I'm not like the Andre 3000 expert.
No.
A lot of people are like, who the hell is he talking about? So he was a member of Outkast. If I was a betting man, I would say Andre 3000 doesn't vote, and I would say like he'd probably be very like Dalai Lama-esque, right? Like in the way he like approaches, like, ooh, the mind is a cage. You know what I mean?
Do you think if he was paid, he'd vote?
Probably.
I mean, if I were paid.
Mario wants to know if AOC had to show ID to freeze her eggs.
A library card.
Just a library card, actually. That's all you needed.
That's all you need.
That's good. It's good. All right, so we got other stories popping up over the weekend that we are paying attention to. Iran's going to be a big topic of conversation today. Still at war. I don't know if you know that. Still at war. And Iran is tying the Hormuz reopening to U.S. concessions on several demands, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. But Iran said it's nearing its final pact with Oman on new shipping lanes through the Strait of Hormuz, but will not reopen the strategic waterway until the U.S. meets conditions including compensation for attacks, ending threats, lifting its Gulf blockade, lifting sanctions, and releasing frozen assets. The strait, which carried about a fifth of the global oil before the conflict, has been effectively blocked since February 28th, pushing oil prices higher. Today, oil is up a little bit, 84.22, as optimism was tempered by the demands. Prosperity nukes, boys, still on the menu in case you're keeping score at home. We also got word that Trump has named Will Scharf as White House counsel. Will Scharf, the White House staff secretary, will become the White House counsel and assistant to the president effective September 1st. President Trump said Sunday. He's overseen Oval Office administrative work and led the National Capital Planning Commission that approved the White House ballroom. More on that in a few. Apparently, people don't like ballrooms. People don't like military facilities or drone pads on top of things. The ballroom stuff is just so insane. Like, tell me that you just can't get past your hatred of President Trump without telling me you can't get past your hatred of President Trump. This ballroom would benefit any Democratic president the way it would benefit a Republican president. Like, it would help everybody. I don't understand why people are so just rage baited by the orange man that they can't let this slide. Like, it is an objectively good idea. It's just stupid to me. We'll talk about that later. We also saw, what's his face? Todd Blanche over the weekend. He got confirmed. I don't know if you saw that, not as a Catholic or anything, but he got confirmed as the U.S. Attorney General. That's officially in the books. This was despite opposition from some Republicans. Breitbart has a story. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was confirmed Saturday to lead the U.S. Department of Justice. The news coming after Republican lawmakers struggled to make a decision. Bill Cassidy announced last minute on Friday that he would support Blanche's confirmation, that was an eye-opener. You know, a lot of people looked at Bill Cassidy and thought he was on the Rhino Revenge tour, like Tom Tillis, like John Cornyn, these guys who had been anti-Trump for so long, didn't get the endorsement bump from the president, so they were going scorched earth on their way out the door. Cassidy's support placed Blanche in the position to be confirmed. And in a social media post early Saturday, Blanche wrote, "I am deeply honored by the trust and confidence President Trump has placed in me to lead the Department of Justice as our great nation's 88th Attorney General. I'm grateful to the Senate for staying late to complete the process." They're back on recess, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. They stayed late for that. They won't stay for the Save America Act, but we'll get there. Blanche continued, "To the dedicated public servants of the Department of Justice, thank you for your work each day to uphold the law and keep our country safe. God bless America." The Fox article stated Blanche, who's Trump's former personal lawyer, nearly saw his confirmation hopes go up in smoke as Republicans struggled to swallow his role in rolling out the nearly $2 billion anti-weaponization and sweeping IRS audit immunity for the president and his family. Breitbart News reported on the anti-weaponization fund, noting in June that a federal judge extended a block on the fund meant for citizens who claimed former President Joe Biden's administration targeted them. Blanche announced Sunday he formally rescinded the anti-weaponization fund days before lawmakers voted on his nomination, according to UPI. Per the Fox article, Murkowski, Susan Collins, and all Senate Democrats opposed his confirmation. Murkowski and Collins are just like the worst. Just the absolute worst. Breitbart News reported July 29th that the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley postponed a committee vote on Blanche's nomination after two Republican senators withheld their support pending written assurances from the DOJ on the anti-weaponization fund. So they got over all the hurdles. Blanche is now the Attorney General and head of the DOJ. Can we get some arrests then? Can we do that now? Like, just everyone, just arrest everyone. Arrest most of them. All of them. I would like to see some people in silver bracelets. So that was making the rounds over the weekend. Another thing making the rounds over the weekend, which it depends on how you slice this. I think this is a negative. I'll just be honest with you. Alito has committed that he is going to be serving another Supreme Court term. And I just get these flashbacks of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So Alito is not retiring. There was a lot of talks that he was going to retire. And I had people from that are close to the White House telling me that they were literally looking around for his replacement just a couple weeks ago because they thought this was going to come. But as you're going to hear here from Fox, he said, when Ginsburg was being pushed to retire, she almost dug her heels in more. And a lot of people are thinking that the exact same thing could be happening with Alito.
Not surprising, because we had been bugging him all spring about this, and I had gotten assurances that he was sticking around for sure for at least this term. And, he talked about this, about it feels like vultures circling overhead sometimes when there's this constant pressure about people wanting to know if he's going to retire. But I think, listen, the left got so burned on this when Justice Ginsburg did not retire. And they found that the more they pressured her, these public op-eds and professors calling for her to step down, the more she dug in her heels and was like, this is a lifetime appointment. I'm not going anywhere. And I think there's been a bit of that impact on Justice Alito, too, with all of the speculation over the last few months. But he's locked in for at least one more term, and we'll see where he goes beyond that. I mean, he's still fully engaged, healthy, seems to really enjoy mixing it up during these arguments. And so there you go.
It's a lifetime appointment, guys. There's only two things that are really, truly for life in this world. And it's Supreme Court appointments, and if you join Hulk Hogan's version of the NWO, that's about it. Those are the only two things I know for certainty are for life. But this is going to right? Is this going to backfire? It could. It very well could. It backfired on them for Ginsburg, and I could see it coming around and backfiring on us. So I wish he would just retire so we get a conservative in there. That's just me. Because sitting on our hands could mean that we hand it over to the Democrats in 2028. God forbid. I mean, I don't know if they have a chance in 2028 because their platform is going to be like dudes in the WNBA and freezing your eggs to outlast climate change and stuff like that. So it's going to be an uphill battle for them. Transing kids, illegal aliens everywhere, pathways to citizenship, free stuff for everybody that wants it, as long as you're okay with a little bit of higher taxes. It's like just their absolute strategy for winning 2028. It's going to give them an uphill battle, but this still could come back and bite the conservatives. So we'll be following that story. On the way, we'll bring you some updates on Iran. We'll bring you an update on Israel and Hamas and the plan to disarm them. Spoiler alert: Israel not a fan. Not a fan. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into midterms and beyond as well. The August recess is in full effect. Everybody's on vacation. And there was a list of senators that objected going into the August recess. It was only 11. There was 20. There was 20 just last week. Remember that? On the new list, Marsha Blackburn isn't there. Bill Haggerty is. Haggerty's still willing to stay and fight. I'm like, Marsha, you already won your election. Can't you stick around a little bit longer and get the Save America Act across the finish line? Apparently not. Apparently not. We'll talk about that, all that, and more on the way. It's 9:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. These guys are the premier destination in all of Middle Tennessee if you need a safe for your home. And let's be honest, everybody needs a safe for their home. Now, maybe you had the good fortune of being out at our party at Hop Springs when we were going through the election results. And you got to meet Aaron, you got to meet his son Morgan, and you got to see firsthand why these guys are the absolute best people and people you want to do business with. Maybe you didn't make it out. Well, let me just tell you, this is a Christian family business, veteran owned, and these guys are the absolute best. They've been doing this since 2009, and they specialize in helping you find the right safe for your needs. Maybe it's firearms, maybe it's guitars, maybe it's just family heirlooms. Whatever it is that you need to protect, Aaron and his sons are going to help you figure out which one it is. Then they'll deliver it and discreetly install it themselves. Real brands like Liberty, American Security, Rhino, Graffunder, and more in stock right now. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. These are the people to call in Middle Tennessee. Today is the day to make the call. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. Or find them online, parkersafes.com.
Up ahead, it's another food recall. This one for salmonella. It's coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Gotta love it. I heard them blaming Bobby Kennedy over this. It was Abdul El Sayed. He was like, everything in the Trump administration's bad.
Oh, gosh.
And now there's explosive diarrhea. It's like, dude, there was explosive diarrhea before Trump. There's going to be explosive diarrhea after Trump.
Amen to that.
Like, this isn't an orange man bad thing. This is, it's just a diarrhea thing.
That's cyclosporiasis.
Yep.
Cyclosporiasis, which is caused by the people who are picking the vegetables in the fields because there's nowhere to go to the bathroom.
So they do it in the fields.
I suggest growing at home.
I know. I see that you're Joan's been hustling vegetables on the side here. Did you see that?
I have a productive garden.
Joan is like a huge fan of evading the tax man. So she's like doing it all. She's doing it all under the table.
Peddling vegetables. Yes.
Yeah, but $20 a pop is a lot, Joe.
She's like she's slanging veggies on the side.
Mine are safe.
No diarrhea. That's what she promises.
That's right.
On every batch of cucumbers. She said these are diarrhea free. All right. That's a weird selling point, but thank you.
But okay.
All right. On the way, we are going to talk about Abdul El Sayed. We'll give you some updates on Iran before we get there. And then we'll talk about the midterm. Save America Act still not passed, by the way. And Joey Jones, who's on the big weekend show on Fox, he had, who do you have on? Roger Marshall from Kansas. Roger Marshall from Kansas. I felt like I was watching my interview with Senator Haggerty because Marshall supports nuking the filibuster and is in favor of the Save America Act. And Joey Jones was just yelling at him. And I'm like, yeah, I've been there. I feel like we've all been there. So we'll talk about that on the way, too. It's 9:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And Chud the Builder is a free man. The social media personality, whose real name is Dalton Etherly, has been released from Montgomery County Jail. In May, he was charged with shooting a disabled veteran during an argument. His bail was set at $1 million. Channel 4 reports Etherly was also charged with skipping out on a $400 bill at a Davidson County restaurant. It's not clear if he'll be required to turn himself in for those charges as well. The company accused of selling lettuce, causing an outbreak of cyclosporiasis, has a personnel problem, too. Taylor Farms has sued the president of its Tennessee subsidiary, claiming that he stole more than $32 million to fund a lavish lifestyle. Brian Teray is accused of using fraudulent vendor charges, reimbursements, and the use of company credit cards for his own gain. He and his wife allegedly purchased a $1 million home in Hawaii, then donated it to the Middle Tennessee Christian School in Murfreesboro for fundraising purposes, according to the lawsuit. Brian Thuray is said to have confessed and apologized to Taylor Farms. Meantime, there are new food recalls over an ongoing salmonella outbreak in 24 states. The USDA says meat products that contain recalled jalapenos have been sold at Kroger, Walmart, and Albertsons, as well as other grocery stores. The warning comes on the heels of that lettuce recall that was linked to cyclosporiasis.
According to the CDC and federal officials, the supplier from Taylor Farms, that has been stopped. And the best buyer, the sell date for the lettuce that was involved, that's all been recalled, and it should be off of shelves. If you have it in your kitchen for some reason, throw that out. So according to these reports, it is safe now to eat lettuce, but it's important to note that not every case of cyclosporiasis has been tied to this iceberg lettuce.
ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
37 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can listen to the show on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. I just jumped on YouTube myself. It's the usual suspects kicking up dust, causing a bit of ruckus in the YouTube chat. Hail to the chat. We appreciate you guys joining the show however you want to join the show, whether it's in the YouTube chat, the text line, or the phone line. Same number for both, 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. President Trump telling Axios, we're low-keying it with Iran. That's Gen Z slang, right? Keeping it low-key.
Yep.
I've said it before. I'm hip. Low-key. I'm low-key hip.
It's a melding of generations there.
Yeah.
Low-key hip.
Low-key. I'm low-key groovy. It's just, President Trump signaled on Sunday, this is from Axios, that he's prepared to allow economic pressure on Iran to mount as opposed to ordering a new military offensive, even as the country continues to defy the U.S. He also posted this on Truth Social, if you can put that up on the screen for me. It says 51 years of bad behavior. It has a very fancy chart. And the chart, if you're watching us on Supertalk TV, it shows that the currency is in the trash. And to double down on that, there is a trash can emoji. So I don't know if you can see my mouse circling the trash can emoji. Does that show up on the screen? Yeah, perfect. So it said in quarter one of 2025, 1 million Iranian rial. Is it real? Rial? Ral. I'll go with Ral.
Do it.
All right? That sounds like that. I feel like that's authentic.
I think it's real.
Ral.
But I think you got it right.
1 million Iranian Ral. Used to be worth $1.11. That was back in quarter one of 2025. Quarter three of 2026, it's now worth 53 cents. That probably hurts. So it kind of goes into the low-key economic pressure route that Axios is talking about. They say, only a week ago, Trump was on the verge of ordering a return to major combat operations, but in an interview with Axios, he did not make any new military threats. Trump also didn't express any anger or frustration about the fact that Iran has been holding up an announcement on a deal with Oman to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. On Saturday, Iran issued a new list of demands to allow shipping through the strait. President Trump said, we're low-keying it during a brief phone call. We're only semi-negotiating with them. We're watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money. He stressed that Iran is in very bad shape economically and has no money to pay its troops. The U.S. naval blockade has exacerbated the Iranian regime's economic crisis, Trump said. And at the same time, Trump said that with oil down to slightly over $75 a barrel, U.S. consumers are feeling less pain from the war. I would gently push back against that. I'm talking with Tennesseans every day. I don't know if you know that about me. I do.
And not just your family.
No. But I do. I talk to people every day. And one of the biggest complaints I hear, and I'm sure you hear it too, is gas prices. And oil today, the last I saw was $84.22 a barrel. So, and what's the gas prices driving in? I didn't check today. I saw $4 over the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw $3.29 yesterday.
$3.29. So I was going to preface it with, it was kind of one of those shady gas stations where there's no gas station else anywhere close.
Yeah, that's fair. The drinks are up it's $8 for a bottle of water.
Yeah. Don't worry, this is fine. $4 for a Coke.
This is America.
People behind the counter, maybe. We're only semi-negotiating them. We're watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money. They're in very bad shape. It will all work out. It always works out. It's like a chess game, Trump said of the back and forth with Iran. An agreement governing the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz was negotiated among Iran, Oman, and the U.S. and has been pending for a few days now. As part of the new deal, Iran would be given partial control over traffic in the Strait, something it didn't have even before the war. Qatari and Pakistani mediators were confident the deal would be announced Wednesday, but since then, its prospects have seemed to fade. U.S. officials say there's growing disagreements inside the Iranian regime. One camp, led by President Masoud Pezeshkian, nailed it, is extremely worried about an economic collapse and believes Iran needs to reach a deal with the U.S. Another, led by the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary, IRGC, Ahmed Vahidi, rejects any concessions. On Saturday, the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, golly, these names. It's an uphill battle for me. I'm going to let you know. Mohammed, I'm good there. That one's pretty uniformed. Baghir Zoltan, laid out new terms for reopening the strait on top of those negotiated in the Oman agreement. In that statement, he said that in order for the strait to reopen, the U.S. must never threaten nor insult Iran in any language. Okay. Like who? Like just the leaders? Are we allowed to do it as the citizens? Permanently end the war against Iran and Iran's allies in Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen, and Iraq, lift the naval blockade, and withdraw military forces from the surroundings of Iran. He added a demand for full compensation for war damages, lifting all sanctions and the release of all Iranian frozen funds. Until several weeks ago, these demands were a prerequisite for a nuclear deal. Now Iran is presenting them as conditions for just reopening the strait. A diplomat from one of the mediating countries said his statement reflected the political infighting within the regime. U.S. officials said Trump was leaning toward resuming major combat operations against Iran a week ago, but was convinced to de-escalate for now. One of the officials said the fighting allowed the Iranian regime to avoid dealing with the consequences of the war, the damage to the infrastructure, and the deep economic crisis that has been created. When Iran isn't engaged in war, it's forced to confront a grim reality with no real solutions at hand, the U.S. official said. Kind of like, go ahead and sit in it. Just sit in it for a second. At the same time, the U.S. official said around 8 million barrels of oil are going out of the Gulf every night through the southern lane of the Strait of Hormuz in coordination with the U.S. military. The U.S. is going to try and get more oil out as long as there is no deal. They said Vice President Vance over the weekend on Fox News on Saturday said this thing is not over. Obviously, it's not at the beginning. We're in the middle of the game, and we're applying a whole host of tools, diplomatic, economic, military tools, to ensure that we get the best outcome for the American people. That was Vice President Vance. He also said over the weekend that they know who they're dealing with, that Iran is telling the U.S. they will allow maximum oil flow through the strait, but he's refusing to believe it until they prove it. And I think that that's the move because we've seen this story play out many times before. This is J.D. Vance with Kayleigh McEnany over the weekend.
Here. This thing is not over. It's obviously not at the beginning. We're in the middle of the game, and we're applying a whole host of tools, diplomatic, economic, military tools, to ensure that we get the best outcome for the American people. I feel quite confident we will get there, but we're still a bit in the middle of the game.
And the Iranians, through different methods, have broadcasted that they look to tighten their grip on the Strait of Hormuz. So in a theoretical deal, what would an acceptable status quo be for the strait?
Well, our expectation is you're going to see the same amount of oil and gas come out of the Gulf that you saw before the conflict started. That is what the Iranians have told us that they are going to do. That's what the entire Gulf coalition wants to do as well. But, you know, we don't trust, we verify. We actually look not at people's words, but at people's deeds. You see some people within the Iranian system, of course, talk about tolling. The Iranians have told us they have no plans to toll the Strait of Hormuz. But again, we're going to see what actions actually happen. What's been going on for the past week or so is that the Iranians and the Gulf countries, particularly Oman, have been talking about how to ensure the safe flow of traffic. The one problem, of course, is the Iranians laid a large number of mines at the beginning of the war. And so what we're really working through now is how you can actually set up a traffic scheme so that the ships that pass can pass through safely. That includes, of course, demining. That also includes a commitment from the Iranians that they're not going to fire at commercial vessels. They're hurting in a big way. They want this thing to be over. The question is whether their system is able to give the things that are necessary for us to be happy, for us to feel.
So that's the vice president over the weekend. We're going to trust, but we're going to need to verify. And it's like we've seen this movie play out time and time again. We're close to a deal. We're back to bombing them. We're close to a deal. They're begging. we're back to bombing them. We're close to a deal. They bombed a cargo ship. Now we're back to bombing them. It's just over and over and over, and it feels like Groundhog's Day. And at the same time, whether you want to admit it or not, this war is very unpopular with the American people. It's very unpopular with conservatives. It's really unpopular with younger conservatives. And there's a lot of people that just want to get back to everyday life and reap the benefits of a Trump economy that's unburdened by this war. And the economy is going to continue to be burdened by the realities of this war as gas prices remain high. I mean, yeah, it's not as bad as it was a few weeks back, but it could get bad again very, very soon. And it doesn't seem like Iran is being slowed down when it comes to their stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz. So are they in the driver's seat, or is the United States in the driver's seat? I think that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. And when it looks like the president is willing to back, a lot of people are saying he's willing to back out of this thing as long as we can get the strait open. It's like, what did we really accomplish in this war then? What did we, if at the end of all of this, all we get is what it looked like before the war started, plus Iran's economy has kind of been trashed, was it worth it? I think that's a question that we all need to ask. Maybe you think it was. Maybe you don't. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Iran publicly demanding for compensation. They need some compensation after what they were put through during all of this. Fox News over the weekend, Trey Yingst.
Of Hormuz, there are questions about what comes next, and the Iranians are starting to make new demands. Iran's Supreme National Security Council issued a fresh statement this weekend calling for the United States to permanently end the war and compensate Iran for damages before the strait would reopen. This does come as Iran's foreign minister says even if a deal is reached, it doesn't necessarily mean the strait will stay open.
We have been discussing the temporary route, and we are very close to reaching a conclusion. Work is being carried out based on the maps of this route. Prepared by the armed forces, negotiations have taken place between the navies of the two countries, and the details are being finalized. I believe we will be able to conclude these negotiations very soon.
Conversations about the strait come as the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect, costing the regime hundreds of millions of dollars each day. Vice President J.D. Vance told Fox News that U.S. pressure on Iran will continue.
They're hurting in a big way. They want this thing to be over. The question is whether their system is able to give the things that are necessary for us to be happy, for us to feel like we've gotten what we need out of this particular engagement. That is still to be determined, but I do think that we've made some progress over the last few days.
With talks ongoing, Iranian proxies remain active. The Yemen-based Houthis launched a new attack on Saudi oil refineries early this morning. The Houthis have also launched several other attacks in the...
So more bombs going off. Nothing really newsworthy happening. We're just going to low-key this thing for a little while. But there are some movings and shakings happening around the Middle East. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan just formed Islamic NATO. We'll tell you about that on the way. Plus, the disarmament of Hamas and why Israel isn't on board. All that on the way. It's 9:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. You know them as USS. These guys are the absolute best. And if you had a lot of rain fall on your property over the weekend like I had fall on mine, and you got waterproofing issues, that rain hits a little bit different, doesn't it? When you know it's getting into your basement, you know it's getting into your crawl space, it's not a home issue, it's a peace of mind issue. And it's like you're up. You're just pacing, knowing that that's wreaking havoc underneath you. It's time to get it fixed. If you wait, it's going to cause more issues. That water keeps getting in. It's going to cause wood rot, which will lead to foundation issues. It'll cause mold, which will lead to health issues for you and your family. None of those are a good solution. What is the solution is calling USS today. They're going to send a guy to your house. That's not a sales guy worried about a quota. They're going to send an expert. And they're going to create a custom solution to fix your waterproofing needs. And they will explain everything to you before they start on the job. And if you don't need any big fixes, You're going to know that as well. These guys are the pros. You should get this handle today. Visit USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Tons of financing options available so you can get the issue fixed today before it costs more and pay for it later. USSTN.com. "57 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Joan must have
ahead.
She must have got stuck at Wally's
Up
Bean
ahead.
Machine. Tell me what's up ahead.
Coming up,
Please, we were waiting. We were excited.
Coming up in Nashville.
We can hear you.
Was she back there?
Ah, man.
I'm just trolling her.
I'm sorry. I'm monitoring something else.
What happened?
I was listening in a different mode.
She's staying on top of the news.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We got headlines on the way in 2 minutes. It better be good.
Oh, you want me to do headlines?
We love it. We love it. Joan Jones is our favorite. Don't say anything mean about her. You will get your tires slashed.
Yeah.
James in Lebanon wants to talk about the Iran conflict. What's up, James? How are you?
Hey, brother. Good. How are you?
Good, man. What do you got?
Man, I guess my question for you is, and for all of us, do we believe that Iran really had a nuclear weapons payload program about to come online? Is that so? Because if it is, we needed to do this, right? Because ultimately, the 300,000 foot view is in the future we don't want all these nations with nuclear weapons programs.
Right.
Civil nuclear is one thing, but nuclear weapons, ultimately, we'd like to denuclearize. But what's your opinion on it?
I mean, they were enriching uranium, right? Like you can make the argument that was their ultimate goal. How close were they? I don't know. I don't have access to that information. You can make the argument that they were an imminent threat when we saw missiles launched at the U.S. British base, it was like double the range of, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but it was double the range of what they originally said that they could do publicly, and it put a lot of European cities in the crosshairs. Then I would just say, is it really our job to defend every European city? And the European nations didn't seem too concerned because we basically had to drag them kicking and screaming to even come in to help us. So I think that speaks volumes. But again, I don't have access to the classified information.
But if they're about to have a nuclear weapons payload program and turn it online, then you and I, as fathers and husbands and Americans, you and I can't risk that. So then we have to go to the next step, which is taking them offline, taking that program offline. And this is the problem with wars. There's no better reason to fight a war than to denuclearize an enemy country that we can't trust with that power. But we've been fighting so many quagmire and BS wars, now we can't sell it to the American people. And then with the media softening and sheepening and just weakening the American people and their minds, now they don't want to fight a war, period, even if it's righteous.
But I would say take the media out of it. Other nations and their intelligence apparatus didn't want to get involved with this. It was just us and Israel. So
that's very telling, isn't it? I
think that's very telling. I mean, you could make the argument that they're just weak, and that's sure maybe, but it's very telling to me.
Yeah. Well, in these nations in Europe, we're talking about suicidal nations anyway that have no problem with dying, clearly.
Yes.
If you watch the way they govern their nations. But I think that's where we're at. I'll tell you this, at the end of the day, I don't regret my vote, and I'm glad the Trump administration's in charge. I'm not happy with every single tiny thing they're doing either. Yep. But I don't regret my vote one bit. I mean,
no, and I think that's an important point. I don't regret my vote either. I mean, even with the Iran war, there's already been a lot of good done by the Trump administration, and things would be far, far worse if Kamala Harris had been in office.
And if we would have if we can get John Thune, the Democrat, if we can get him to codify executive orders or put them in a bill for the Senate to sign, we'd be good. But that's the other problem. That's the bigger problem we have is most of our Republicans are really Democrats in Congress.
So I would say this. I would pose this question to you then, James. What's the bigger threat to America? Is it Iran or is it Democrats?
I think obviously our enemies are bigger threats than our own. I think we should be able to police our own. But then the other answer I'll give you is if you want to look at who the biggest threat is to your nation, look in the mirror. It's us. And if we can't steward our own government and Americans don't get their heads out of their butts, especially young Americans, my generation, millennials, if we don't start keeping an eye on the people that work for us, if we just keep letting everybody run amok after we elect them into power, then what happens is we're a bigger enemy than our enemies to ourselves. We are our own worst enemy because we're not stewarding our government, our freedom, our liberty, and our power. We're just letting these people run amok.
I hear you, man, and I appreciate the call. Great call. Call in anytime. It's 10:02. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is the first day of school in Sumner and Rutherford counties today. Williamson County schools have a half day of classes. Metro Nashville Public Schools return tomorrow. And all of this has Metro Nashville Police issuing reminders for drivers.
Please leave home early. Give yourself extra time. Slow down. Watch for students and school buses. Drive carefully, and please adhere to the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit in active school zones.
Metro Nashville Police are also in need of crossing guards. Anyone interested is encouraged to visit the Metro Nashville Police website and search crossing guards. A Nashville man has been charged after threatening police officers who were trying to arrest him for being drunk in public. 42-year-old Joseph Falkenstein had reportedly urinated on the sidewalk near Broadway yesterday. Police say he had an open bottle of Jack Daniels in his pocket. And as they tried to take him into custody, Falkenstein threatened to put a bullet in the officers' heads. He's due in court on Wednesday. Perry County residents not able to call for the Perry County Police non-emergency today. The department reported an outage last night saying while the lines are down, residents can call the dispatch cell phone. That number is 931-279-1374. The 911 emergency number is working fine. A federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit filed by the DOJ, which had requested a full unredacted copy of Washington, D.C.'s voter registration data. The judge, U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss, calling the suit an unprecedented effort to collect sensitive information about voters. Just the News reports that so far, 21 judges have ruled against the DOJ request in its effort to ensure that states and the District of Columbia are maintaining their voter rolls and removing ineligible voters. And a lot of questions about a collection of ultra-rare Nintendo game cartridges that were found in a storage unit. Now they're going to hit the auction block.
When someone brought in a box containing 97 Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt NES cartridges, the owner of One Shop Wonders in Waukesha, Wisconsin, was thrilled and confused.
These were printed about 2 years after the last known printing of these games.
Jason Ganos runs a site called Nintendo Wire.
Nobody has ever seen these specific carts before.
Made in 1993, the games look brand new. They may fetch millions at an auction that starts tomorrow. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That is the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, save the frogs, betterwater.com. You can listen on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We appreciate you doing so. We got a lot to get to. We were talking about the Iran conflict. What's the bigger threat to America? Iranians or Democrats? I don't know. No Iranian ever called me a bigot. Just saying. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Also happening over the weekend, Friday in particular, Islamic NATO. Have you heard about Islamic NATO? It's like the regular NATO with Islam. So it's got to be good. If you follow leftist logic, this is going to be the best NATO that we've ever seen. Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey. So just in case you're not keeping score at home, Saudi Arabia's got the money, Turkey's got the military, and Pakistan, well, they've got the nukes. So what could go wrong, right? Probably nothing. But the Iranian foreign ministry attempted to respond positively over the weekend to the news that Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey have signed a joint defense pact, apparently intended to protect each other from Iran, claiming instead that this is Iran's claims that it conveyed that they no longer trust the United States. Maybe they're just looking out for their own interests. But the three parties signed an agreement on Friday. This is from Breitbart. It's known as the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement. Islamic NATO. Most significantly, it creates an obligation for each state to treat an attack against one as an attack against all. The context most observers noted is especially significant for the agreement is the current conflicts between the Saudi government and the Iran-backed Houthi terrorists of Yemen, who boasted of a massive attack killing dozens of alleged Saudi enemy mercenaries the day before the Mecca Pact was signed. You heard it in a clip ago where we were talking about this. Saudi oil refineries were attacked over the weekend by the Houthis. And the three countries geographically form an almost perfect triangle around Iran and join some prodigious military might, as Turkey is one of the most well-armed members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and Pakistan possesses nuclear weapons. And then Saudi Arabia's just got boatloads of cash. The Iranian Islamist regime did not immediately issue a public statement in response to the defense pact on Friday. Various officials commented on it throughout the weekend, framing it as a loss for America, despite its apparent objective of protecting participating parties from Iranian terrorism. Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Baghi responded to the deal directly on Monday, describing it as a sign of a change in the perception that participating countries have toward the United States rather than a development that should concern Tehran. The countries of the region have realized that security is not a commodity that can be bought from false brokers, referring to Washington. Any plan that is based on the geopolitical and historical realities of the region is comprehensive and inclusive and correctly identifies the enemy and the threat, has a chance of helping to strengthen security and prevent instability and abuses by the Zionist enemy and its allies, he asserted. Baki also reportedly stated explicitly that the deal was an important sign that the countries of the region have concluded that they cannot rely on and trust the claim of security provided by the United States and some other actors outside the region. He went on to suggest that Iran could potentially join the defense deal someday, despite the implications of the agreement that it is meant to protect the participating countries from Iran, saying we're in close contact with the neighboring countries and regional countries, and we hope that all countries will learn from the developments of the last 2 or 3 years and adopt the best path to strengthen the region's collective security, Iranian state media quoted him as saying. Prior to the official foreign ministry statements on Monday, several Iranian officials appeared to lay the groundwork for the argument that the deal is worse for Washington than Tehran, as it allegedly indicates a lack of trust in American defense to help the Muslim states. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's partially because they don't trust America. Maybe it's partially because they keep getting bombed by Iran and they're their allies there in the region, the Houthis, their terror-sponsored groups, maybe. But Islamic NATO is coming. The leaders of the three countries, the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Turkish strongman Erdogan, and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, met in Mecca on Friday to sign the defense pact, emphasizing that their agreement was not intended to intimidate or aggressively engage any other party and was purely meant to give the countries better footing from joint threats. Notably, the three countries are majority Sunni Muslim countries as opposed to Shia Iran, while Pakistan actively persecutes non-Sunni Muslims, most prominently the Ahmadi Muslim community. They said this agreement is intended to strengthen collective deterrence against any aggression and stipulates that any armed attack against any one of the three states shall be regarded as an attack against all of them. Saudi Arabia independently said in a statement that the deal does not represent any orientation toward building a military axis or religious bloc, and it is not linked to nuclear endeavors or an arms race, but rather building self-sustainable, self-reliant capabilities. Sure thing. Press X for doubt. I would imagine that there is some attention being paid to those arenas. How would there not be? Elsewhere in the region, Israel has rejected a 15-point plan, a 15-point peace plan in Gaza that President Trump had put out. This is big news. Everybody wants the war in Gaza over, and it doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon.
Demanding concessions from the United States before reopening the Strait of Hormuz, further complicating efforts to reach a peace deal between both countries. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is rejecting the Trump-backed 15-point peace plan, vowing the IDF will not withdraw until Hamas is disarmed. Alex Hogan is live.
I mean, isn't that the whole point? That they were going to disarm themselves and then Israel was going to withdraw? Breitbart has this. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel rejects a U.S.-backed 15-point plan to disarm Gaza. Last month, you'll remember, President Trump's Board of Peace created the plan for gradual disarmament of Gaza and withdrawal of Israeli troops from the territory. But in a cabinet meeting on Sunday, a readout from Netanyahu's office from a meeting of the government ministers said, I want to be clear here. Israel is ruling out the 15-point plan. And it's like, come on, guys. I thought y'all were our greatest ally. There's also talks that Israel is going to be gearing up to bomb Iran on its own without the U.S. as Trump tries to make it a low-key kind of effort. And it's like, can we just get on the same page and work towards peace? Is that okay? The Israeli military will not carry out any withdrawal until Hamas is genuinely disarmed and will continue to thwart threats against our forces and our citizens, Netanyahu said. We are now discussing this with the Americans. They have ideas, some of which are acceptable to us and some are not, and we know how to stand up to those things. He reiterated his opposition to a two-state solution. As long as I'm prime minister, no Palestinian state will be established, not in Gaza, not in the West Bank. Contrary to all those who preach to us, we do what must be done for Israel's security, and we can and will stand our ground, even against our best friends when necessary. Great. It's awesome. Perfect. It's our greatest ally. Hamas said that handing over its heavy weapons was contingent on Israel ending all forms of aggression and withdrawing from Gaza. We expect the mediators and the American guarantor to pressure Netanyahu and his government to adhere to the roadmap and not obstruct the process for internal political and electoral reasons, Bassem Naim, a member of Hamas Politburo, said on X Sunday. Since the ceasefire last October, Israel has continued to strike Gaza. Israel's military occupies more than half of Gaza, and Netanyahu's far-right allies have implied that they want to expand that control. They lauded Netanyahu's comments. The Israeli military cannot retreat 1 millimeter in the Gaza Strip, Finance Minister of Israel said. So that's where we're at. The Middle East is still just an absolute mess and doesn't look like anything's going to get solved anytime soon. So that's the positive, right? I guess. Why are we over there at all? Does anybody help? Anybody? What are our interests? How does this benefit America? Because I'm having a hard time coming up with any reason. I'm backing the president. I support the president. I understand Iran is not full of good people. All agreed to. We all agree on that. So What are we negotiating for? Who are we negotiating with? All of this stuff just, again, seems like we're stuck on this treadmill of mediocrity inside the Middle East where it's never going to get any better. Yet we continue to persist. Okay. I guess that's what we're going to do. That's the right thing to do, I guess. Meanwhile, Iran's top diplomat refuses to directly engage with the U.S. until Tehran's demands are met. So the top guy for negotiating, the top guy, says, no, not until you meet our demands. Who's negotiating from a position of strength here? Because it's becoming, it's at least appearing that it's less and less the United States. And trust me, I'd rather have Donald Trump in there negotiating than Kamala Harris. But it seems like we're not in the position of strength any longer. Breitbart has this. The Islamic State's top diplomat added messages are being exchanged via intermediaries, not directly between the two parties. Arakchi repeated Iran's position that an agreement on the Strait of Hormuz between Tehran and Muscat was in the final stages but would not reopen the strategic waterway. In comments reported by Mehr News Agency and seen by Reuters, Arakchi said the agreement would set out the new shipping lanes to be used once the U.S. fulfills other conditions and the strait is reopened to traffic. Iran's Revolutionary Guard maintain the Strait of Hormuz closure remains until the enemy accepts all our conditions. The strait is now actually a theater of war for us and not just a waterway. He spoke just hours after Iran's top national security official told the United States it must correct behavior, issuing a sweeping list of demands as Vice President Vance said Washington remains in the middle of the game and is continuing to apply diplomatic, economic, and military pressure on Iran. He also stipulated Washington must lift its naval blockade, compensate Tehran for war damages, lift sanctions, and unconditionally release frozen Iranian assets. Until America corrects its behavior, the Strait of Hormuz will not be reopened. So, prosperity nukes? Is that where we're at? I mean, seriously, like, I don't like the war. I didn't really want to be in the war, but we're in the war now. So you have to come to some kind of solution here. And if they don't want to negotiate, then like what other options are we left? Seriously. Like, is it good to kick a hornet's nest in your yard? Like, maybe if you have a plan. It doesn't seem like we currently have a plan for where we're going in this. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. But it seems like this is going to get even messier before it gets any better. It's 10:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. So over the weekend, we had a lot of rain. My front yard got a little muddy. And I hear the door open, right? I just sent the kids to take the dogs out because I didn't really want to do it in the rain. And I hear the door open. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, leave the dogs in the garage, my big chocolate lab comes galloping through the house covered in mud. So the carpet is thrashed. This used to be a situation where it was like, okay, the carpet just needs to be replaced, but it's not in my household anymore. We're going to call our friends at Zero Res, the Maha of carpet cleaners. These guys don't use harsh chemicals. They don't leave behind soap residue. They clean with their exclusive ZR water. So the carpet's going to look insanely clean when it's all said and done. It's going to dry faster than any cleaning you've ever had done before. And when it's done, it's going to stay clean longer. And that matters if you got 4 kids, 2 dogs running through the house all day. Right now is the perfect time to clean your carpets if you're dealing with what I'm dealing with. Call my guys at Zero Res today. 4,800 Google reviews, a 4.9 rating. It's not my family. That's the only ones trusting them. A lot of families around Middle Tennessee do. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. 2- and 3-room specials going on now. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com.
Well, he did it. A former NBA star has filed for the WNBA draft. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, get ready for a lot of news about Lady Ballers. They're gonna take the league by storm. They're gonna dunk on those broads. I wonder what happens to the poly market betting odds, right? Like if one of these dudes does squeak by, do the poly market odds go through like a renaissance? You're not gonna win any more money.
No.
Like right now, there's like some real good odds out there if you know who are the dudes and you want to place some bets. But this is going to be almost too publicized, right? So,
no more easy money.
I was watching the BBC last night.
Oh, no.
And they were talking about this. And I was like, something's off. And I'm like watching. I'm like, I don't know if that's a British accent or if that's a man. And I felt like, I don't know. I feel guilty when this stuff happens because, like, there's a lot of ladies out there that, you know, they were blessed in other ways, right? Smarts, maybe punctuality, you know? They weren't really graced in the looks department or in, like, the feminine voice department. And now when I'm looking at them, like, never before in human history had the thought crossed your mind, is that a dude? But now that's like the first thing that crosses my mind. So I feel bad for them. Like I truly do. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I got a text here. Somebody said, how does Islamic NATO compare to Sharknado? And just responded, very similar, actually. Very similar. Chris in Thompson Station wants to talk about the Strait of Hormuz. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Hey, good. Yourself?
Good. What do you got?
I have a different take on why the Strait of Hormuz isn't open yet, and maybe this is part of Donald Trump's larger plan. He's been stymied by the courts at various different levels on his tariff plan. So maybe because of our import-export levels of goods that go through the Strait of Hormuz is statistically zero. It's about 2.8% on imports and essentially zero on exports because we have other trade routes. And so maybe this is part of his plan. If he shuts the Strait of Hormuz and leaves it closed and fakes like it's a big deal, maybe he gets the NATO countries in Europe and the Middle East to solve this themselves. So by keeping the naval blockade in place, he essentially crushes Iran's economy. And by keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed and dragging out these negotiations, our domestic production gets stronger. It's a second solution instead of tariffs directly. It's kind of indirect. And the only thing he needs to play ball is to get the feds to take the interest rates down and the domestic energy producers to keep pumping and lower the gas prices at the pump. And I think that may be part of their larger strategy. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's interesting. I think like a lot of things would have to fall into place perfectly for that. And then you'd have to ask the question, right, are you willing to create pain and inflict pain on the American people because of your 4D chess strategy?
Yeah, I think that's why really the key is the gas pumps. You know, getting our domestic suppliers to continue to produce and oversupply the market solves two things: keeps profits domestically, keeps our energy source domestic, so instead of depending on foreign energy sources, and it helps the average American with the number one spend, which is gas at the pumps.
Yeah, I mean, I guess only time will tell if that's the reality, right? Like, right. You could be right. It could be just a logic leap, though.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a stretch, but it just occurred to me as, you know, we can roll in there and we can wipe out that key port island of theirs. So there's got to be a reason why we haven't done it so far. And I'm with you. I didn't want to get in it in the first place, but if we're in it, let's finish it.
Yeah.
Let's finish it with enough time that we can, you know, see the benefit at the polls in November instead of the headwind which we're facing into now.
Yep, I'm with you there, Chris, and I appreciate the call, man. Good call. 10:30, it's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got your forecast coming up in 5. A 7-year-old girl has been shot in East Nashville as she slept in her bed. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
Around 2:30 this morning, investigators say that they were called to a duplex in East Nashville, and they believe that a drive-by shooting happened. They tell us that it looks like the left side of this duplex may have been the target. There were some bullet holes on the second-story window there. But one of those bullets, it did fly into the other side of that home and hit a 7-year-old girl. She's in serious but stable condition this morning, and there were children inside both sides of that duplex when this happened.
Now, so far, no arrests. Police are reviewing doorbell camera video. Hunter Biden says his dad's cancer has spread.
In an interview with the BBC, Hunter Biden says his father's prostate cancer, which had spread to his bones, has now gone further. Hunter Biden says his father's cancer is now very painful and very debilitating, but he says the 83-year-old former president is still out there doing his thing. Asked about this, Biden's office declined to comment.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The former president was diagnosed in May of 25 with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And we're learning that the NBA star Enes Kanter Freedom has formally filed for the WNBA draft. Now, this comes as the WNBA sent out a memo to teams on Friday, reportedly to meet and discuss what a woman is.
Saying that a task force that's made up of groups, presidents and general managers, they're going to meet next week to discuss the issue as there are growing questions about whether the league needs to clarify that eligibility and update it.
That's Fox News reporter Brooke Taylor. That's the latest news. Stick around for weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. The kids are headed back to school, so that gives you a little bit more free time to knock some things off your to-do list. You should start with our friends at Busy Bee. They have their biggest back-to-school offers of the season. If you schedule that HVAC maintenance or complete any HVAC repair, you're going to get a free dryer vent cleaning. That's added safety and one less thing to do on your to-do list. If you're thinking about a new system, you purchase a high-efficiency HVAC unit, and you'll be entered to win Busy Bee's Healthy Hive giveaway. That's a $1,500 sponsorship for the local school of your choice. Imagine the hero's reception when you show up with $1,500 worth of glue sticks. Plus, qualified teachers, faculty, and staff members can receive a free Beehive Club membership when a customer purchases or renews one and gifts it to them. If you need major plumbing work, you can get a $500 gift card with qualifying whole home repipes or mainline replacements. And as always, Busy Bee wants to help you out. With approved credit, enjoy 0% financing for 18 months. It's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. Sorry, did you see the look of visible disgust on my face?
I did. What are you looking at on CNN there?
It wasn't CNN.
Uh-oh.
It's Price is Right. I don't know who left it on in here. But it was like a grown man. He just sank like a 4-foot putt for a car. And for starters, the car was lame. And then he celebrated like he had some actual achievement. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. Getting a free car for just a 4-foot putt.
I was like, dude, get a grip. Not even a cool car. It's like,
Figure it out.
You didn't do anything impressive, sir. Actually, you know what? Now I want to be an audience member on The Price is Right, just to boo. Like, I want to be the guy that boos. Like, I want to heckle the contestants.
Speed run, how quick you can get kicked off of The Price is Right.
Boo! You did nothing. So it's like, chill out, dude.
You think you make it to the first commercial break?
Of The Price is Right?
Yeah.
I would think so. Maybe
what are the Calci odds?
Maybe it'd be like some like Little League games where like you're heckling the ump. I've never done it. But you're heckling the ump and they're like, you think you can do it? You come do it. And then maybe I would do that. It would be that kind of an exchange while I was heckling the contestants on The Price is Right.
Can you make the 4-foot putt?
Yes.
Will you get the car?
Yes. I could do all the games.
Easy.
Like light work. Just I'm gonna guess 1 cent, you know? Like over I would just hope to be the guy to go last. That way I could just mess up everybody else with my prediction on what it would cost.
They say 70, you say 70 and 1 cent.
Yeah, 71. Sorry.
Easy.
Sorry. Should have gone first, loser. That's what I would do. Who left on The Price is Right? Here's the thing. Dan was so upset about the TV for like how many weeks was he upset about the TV? I guess we got struck by lightning or something and the TVs went out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I look up and it's like, were you just watching Price is Right? Is that what we're doing?
I guess so. I mean, he is getting older.
Mason said it, not me, Dan. All right, let's. I
love you, Dan.
We all love Dan.
I just had to get that out there.
Dan's honestly, like, no, all jokes aside, one of the greatest guys you could ever meet.
No, Dan's awesome.
Yep. All right. It's enough glazing for one day.
Nope.
Senator John Kennedy, one of the senators that didn't want to go on vacation. Month-long vacation, guys. Who says no? Senator John Kennedy says no. There's 11 other senators that jumped into the fray. Here's the list in its totality. Based Mike Lee out of Utah, the Southern Gentleman, Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana, Josh Hawley out of Missouri, Rick Scott out of Florida, Bill Hagerty out of Tennessee. That's the only one out of Tennessee, by the way. Eric Schmidt out of Missouri, Dave McCormick out of Pennsylvania, Bernie Moreno out of Ohio, John Husted out of Ohio, Ashley Moody out of Florida, and Darlene Graham out of South Carolina. I'm going to be honest. I feel really bad that I spoke negatively about Darlene.
You're backtracking.
I have to.
I don't blame you.
New information has changed my mind. Okay? Darlene Graham, during the South Carolina debates for her primary, she was like, why do we have a month off? Does anybody explain that? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, preach. Why do you have a month off? What are you, a school teacher or something? Get back to work. Honestly. Oh, gee whiz, guys, we got to go home and campaign. Oh, yeah, the only time you ever want to be in your home state, huh? It's nice. That's great. Marcia, Miss Blackburn, where are you? Like, honestly, at this point, she is essentially the governor of Tennessee, right? Like, I think we can all agree. If Monty Fritz couldn't overcome the odds, Jerry Green isn't overcoming the odds. Just spoiler alert, in case you're keeping score at home. Jerry Green has no chance of ever becoming governor of the state of Tennessee. So why isn't Marsha Blackburn in D.C. burning the boats? Like, honestly, why aren't you going scorched earth? Why aren't you lighting every single bridge on fire to get the Save America Act passed as your one final middle finger as you walk out the door? Can anybody tell me why? Why does Marsha need a month off? She won her primary. She doesn't need to campaign. Why is she not there with Haggerty kicking up dust? Honest question. Honest question. These 11 senators put statements into the record objecting. There was a voice vote where objections were heard but overruled. So only those 11 senators put in a statement into the record objecting. It's embarrassing. It really is. Senator John Kennedy, not impressed whatsoever with the fact that they are officially on recess.
5 weeks in the August recess, or will you be here early next week as well?
Well, I'm fine being here all next week. I think if we all agreed to stay through next week, we could get all of our work done and give everybody a chance to offer amendments. Now, I understand some of my colleagues are up for re-election and they want to get home to campaign, and that's fair, and I get all that. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that I think we're going to leave some stuff on the table because I don't think senators are going to. I don't think they're going to stay here, and you run into an attendance problem at some point. If senators start leaving, you don't have the votes to do what you need to do.
Yeah, there's gonna be an issue. How many do you think are still there? Bet you they all dipped. Senator Rick Scott, who should have been the Senate Majority Leader, not John Thune. He says that him and Mike Lee are refusing to give up on passing the Save America Act.
In the next month, everybody calls, every Republican, Democrat senator, and say, we've got to get this done. I'm not giving up. I know Mike Lee's not giving up. Ron Johnson's not giving up. So we're going to figure out how to get this done.
Fingers crossed that they actually can. In the meantime, Scott Pressler is warning the GOP senators on the Save America Act, you either deliver or we're going to get rid of you. And I think that this is really the energy that we all need to have. You're either going to fight or you're going to be voted out. Early Vote Action founder Scott Pressler sharply criticized Senate Republicans during a Breitbart News Saturday interview. Breitbart has a story arguing the party's majority has failed to act with sufficient urgency on election integrity legislation, while calling on conservative voters to pressure lawmakers through primaries, town halls, voter registration, and grassroots organizing. Pressler told Breitbart News Saturday host Bradley Jay that it is very disingenuous for senators other than Mike Lee or Rick Scott and a few others to claim they are fighting to protect elections, pointing to what he described as illegal aliens on voter rolls in Pennsylvania who are actively registered and voting, while adding, we're finding them in Michigan and Arizona. This is an existential crisis. This is a constitutional crisis. Pressler said Republican activists face a difficult argument when asking voters to support the party, while, in his words, Republicans are the majority controlling all three branches of government, but have not delivered on campaign promises. And this is, we're all seeing this, just so you know. It's like Scott Pressler has the observation here, but everybody inside the conservative movement is seeing exactly what Pressler is saying here. And this is the question that we all need to reckon with. How do I make the case as a conservative activist trying to drum up support for Republicans when, as the majority controlling all three branches of government, we are incapable of delivering the very campaign promises that elected the majority we have today? How do I make the case to elect Republicans when our Senate majority leadership won't deliver on what 84% of Americans want? And he's absolutely right. This is where the kids are getting blackpilled, and they're like, why even vote? Let me just sit this out. Maybe you need to take it on the wrist and have a Democrat be elected. This is where that argument is coming from, because we did everything you asked. We voted in your majority in the House. We voted in your majority in the Senate. We got Donald Trump to the White House. We gave you everything. Where you at? Nowhere to be seen. They're on recess, actually, in the Senate. Despite his criticism, Pressler said he does not intend to abandon his organizing work. I promise I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue. He said that early vote action is continuing its efforts in Pennsylvania. Pressler said the Republicans are 25,811 active voters from flipping the state, and argued that just because the Senate is derelict in its duties doesn't mean that activists like myself are going to give up on the responsibility. And it is. It's 84%. 84% of Americans are in favor of the Save America Act. Over the weekend on the Big Weekend Show, Senator Roger Marshall, he's a Republican out of Kansas, he got the Chris Hand, Bill Hagerty treatment because Joey Jones, essentially, Joey Jones is the Marine on the Big Weekend Show. He essentially echoed a lot of what we echoed with Hagerty here. It's like, I'm not really mad at you, Senator Hagerty. You just happen to be the guy in the line of fire. And to his credit, Senator Hagerty was one of those 11 senators putting his objection on the record when it comes to going on recess. So it's not a Senator Hagerty thing. But the frustration with Senate Republicans is at an all-time high. You guys haven't been able to do anything. So anytime somebody gets a Senate Republican in front of them, it's like, okay, get ready for a tongue lashing because all of your friends are losers, right? Like, I think that's fair. Like, you are the company you keep, and the company that you keep currently weak and ineffective. So Joey Jones, Marshall's like doing the whole John Thune thing, right? He's like, really, a lot of this blame should be placed on the Democrats. And Joey Jones is like, well, hold the phone there.
Having something to take to the campaign against Democrats as a legislative win on voter ID when the actual cause for concern for Americans is the Save America Act. And it's not Democrats that's stopping the Save America Act from getting voted on and passing. It's your Republican colleagues. Yep. Coming out of this recess, you've got those lame duck colleagues or the ones that are in states, potentially Maine, that may not want to vote for it for those reasons. I mean, do you see any way, if you're being honest and truthful with me, we're just two people talking in a room, do you see any way the Save America Act, as it exists today, without major changes, becomes law before this Congress is over?
Well, Joey, I would say it's a really uphill battle, and only with President Trump at the helm is there even a chance of doing that. But I want to at least set the record straight here. Yesterday, all 52 Republicans voted in favor of voter ID, and there's some version of the SAVE Act that we can get at least 50 votes as well. And you and I both know that we should be talking about the Democrats right now. We cannot get one Democrat to vote in favor of voter ID, let alone proof of citizenship.
I hate let's talk about the Democrats. I really do. Like, it's so infuriating. I think a lot of the problems in this party can be solved by looking inward. And a lot of the forces that are holding us up have nothing to do with the Democrat Party. They don't. So, I mean, you pick your poison, right? Are they never Trump or neocons that are secretly sabotaging President Trump behind the scenes? Is it the lobbyists and the corruption and the money? I mean, maybe it's a mix of both. But the whole, please, will somebody think of the Democrats? They're holding us. Yeah, well, we expect them to. That's kind of part and parcel for the current Democrat Party. But then as Roger Marshall continues, the Republican senator from Kansas, who, again, he does support nuking the filibuster, and he does support the Save America Act. Joey Jones, the Marine, he's like, yeah, you want us to talk about the Democrats, but we expect that out of them. We expect the Democrats to be just the worst. So where are you guys at?
About the Democrats right now. We cannot get one Democrat to vote in favor of voter ID, let alone proof of citizenship or doing anything with mail-in ballots. That they're the problem. So I don't understand, why we want to pick on the Republicans. Why there's this Republican on Republican violence right now. But let me finish that. So the big issue here is why can't we get through? Should we do something where we flip the habits of the Senate where it takes 60 votes to do something?
Well, for one, you're talking about the filibuster. I don't know. I don't know if you should or not. I'm not a historian. I'm just an American trying to make it in this world, watching our elections look more and more fraudulent every time they happen, and knowing that there's very little that can be done about it, but yet the president has backed this piece of legislation. Now, there are pieces of it that I understand concern, but you're not having that debate. The debate is on whether or not these 3 or 4 of your colleagues will come to the table and put their vote out into the daylight and take all the arrows for it. The reason why we're talking about Republicans is because I expect Democrats to let me down on legislation I believe in. I expect Democrats to let me down when I didn't vote for any of them. But with these Republicans, especially from states like North Carolina or wherever it may be, they really should have to answer their constituents, even on their way out, why they won't vote for what might be the most popular piece of legislation President Trump has backed. Don't you think that's the case?
I think that's the case, and I know you think that's the case as well. And he threw a jab there at Tom Tillis, which is one of the rhinos who's been on the revenge tour because Donald Trump didn't endorse him. He's got time for a lot of things. He's the guy that organized the dog show behind the scenes. But voting on the Save America Act, heavens no. Heavens no. We expect the Democrats to disappoint us. We expect the Democrats to let us down. It's just time that we hold the Republicans accountable because they do the exact same thing. Just they take a little bit longer. It's 10:53. This is Super Talk. 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you'll have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
A child is recovering after gunfire tears through an East Nashville duplex overnight. A Tennessee veteran is fighting these new hemp restrictions. A major jalapeno recall expands, and it's a sad day in Hazard County. Cooter has passed away. Details coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. And listen, for an established news guy, I thought you were going to come in guns blazing and steal the story that I'm about to do.
I was going to steal your thunder, brother Chris.
But you didn't think that AOC freezing her eggs was newsworthy? That would have been my lead. I'm just saying.
Oh, there's going to be more of her.
She froze her eggs, boys. Now, again, I think that this is a very, very brave thing to do.
How did she survive overnight in a freezer?
Well, this is what we have to ask. Mason said earlier she's not putting all of her eggs into one basket. So this was AOC in 2019, okay?
We don't have to project 1 minute into our future to see that the climate crisis is already here. On this note, I speak to you not as an elected official or public figure, but I speak to you as a human being, a woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future, and that our actions are responsible for bringing their most dire possibilities into focus.
So is climate change solved? Because it sounds there like she was saying there's no future for kids because of climate change. There's another one that's been going around, this one.
There's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult. And it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. You know, is it okay to still have children?
Is it? Because, the existential threat of climate change. So either AOC doesn't care about them kids, or climate change is and was the hoax you always thought it was, because just over the weekend, she posted a video on the socials where she's poking her little belly with some needles. I don't know why you need to poke your belly with needles to freeze eggs. I don't know the process.
I honestly thought she would just sit in an ice bath thinking that would work.
But people think it'd be like it is. But I guess it don't in this case. I've never done the freezing the eggs things. We've only done it the old-fashioned way. But I guess you have to jab yourself with a needle in the belly.
Don't be weird about this, even though I know all of you will be. All right, everyone. Deco and I, day one of freezing my eggs. I'm diving into the process, and now I've got, let's see, all of this medicine here. I'm going to inject this first, but I got a pro tip from a friend because this injection kind of stings. It kind of burns a little bit.
What do you think stings worse? Her failed predictions of climate change ending the future of all children everywhere, or the injection that she put into her belly? It's just like these people, I can't. By the way, she wants to run for president. We'll talk about that next. It's 11:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm the boss.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We picked up a couple of crashes, drivers. Got one in Donaldson, Lebanon Pike at McGavick Pike, then in South Inglewood, Gallatin Pike at Birchwood Avenue. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Whoo, it's going to be hot this week. A child is recovering after gunfire erupted at an East Nashville home this morning. Metro police say multiple shots were fired into a duplex on Trutland Place near McFerrin Park around 2:30. Child inside struck in the leg, taken to the hospital with injuries that are not considered life-threatening, fortunately. Detectives now working to determine who opened fire and why. Well, a Tennessee veteran with multiple sclerosis is asking state leaders to reconsider this new restriction on hemp products. Christy Medor telling News 2 THCA products, flour, the kind that you smoke, helped her manage chronic pain and come off prescription opioids after years of heavy medication use.
Actually used that to get through the withdrawals of coming off of the opioids because it helped with the nausea. It helped with allowing me to eat.
She's got more than 1,000 signatures on a petition. It's change.org, reverse Tennessee's ban on hemp products. A jalapeno recall getting bigger. The Agriculture Department saying 18 meat and poultry products like wraps, burritos, enchiladas, and salads could contain peppers tainted with salmonella. Major grocery stores now on alert. Details from ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
They were sold at stores including Kroger, H-E-B, Walmart, and Albertsons with use-by dates between August 3rd and 16th. Now, along with that, Taylor Farms, the company linked to the record cyclosporiasis outbreak, tells us that it's recalling additional foods with jalapenos like guacamole and salsa. These products were sold at stores including Target, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's.
Taylor Farms says it's not aware of illnesses tied to the foods at this time. Walmart says it's moving quickly to remove the foods, including pico de gallo. Social media influencer Dalton Etherly, known online as Chud the Builder, is bonded out of the Montgomery County Jail after spending more than 2 months behind bars. Etherly's facing charges in both Montgomery and Davidson counties, including an attempted murder charge tied to a May shooting outside the Clarksville courthouse. Prosecutors allege he shot a disabled veteran during that incident. It remains unclear whether Etherly will now have to surrender to authorities in Davidson County, where separate charges are still pending. Ben Jones, best known for playing mechanic Cooter Davenport on the hit TV series The Dukes of Hazzard, has passed away at the age of 84. This is one of his most iconic scenes when he's helping the Duke boys run some shine. And Uncle Jesse beat Boss Hogg in a cross-country race.
Cooter, how soon can you meet us at the Badger Crossroads?
Oh, we can meet you there in no time, good buddy. And I hope you're thinking what I'm thinking, because that's why I brought them jugs.
Then let's do it.
Burn rubber, bugger. Ow!
Had Daisy sitting right by him in the truck. Well, Ben Jones' wife says he suffered a massive heart attack at their home in Virginia on Sunday. The actor appeared in all 7 seasons of the popular CBS series. Jones also served in the U.S. House of Representatives, and he owned the Cooters Place attractions here in Tennessee and Virginia. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:08. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I have a feeling that our friend Tony in Montreal, the King of Canada, we refer to him as, the King of Canada, is going to be very upset today because we have leaders like AOC. How blessed are we? I mean, you're looking at the next president of the United States, and I'm sure my friend Tony up there in Canada is, kicking himself that he doesn't get this kind of leadership. What's up, Tony? How are you?
How you doing, Chris? Incredible how this self-adulation and self-victimization strategy seems to work on the people that have limited cortex. To be very polite, I won't say other than that. But I just said to Mason, I said, hey, it's about 100 degrees up here in Canada right now, 100 degrees humidity. I'm up in trees, cutting in the forest. I was a professional at one time. As I said, I went to school for a long time and practiced law and really got tired of that, to be honest with you, Chris. My family's been in construction since, I believe it was 1880 when my great-grandfather came here banging spikes on the Canadian Railroad that joined Canada east to west under the MacDonald Plan. He said that if we want to fight the Americans, we better have a railroad east to west or they're going to come up north-south and eat us up. Well, the Italians put in the labor, and the great-great-grandson of that man is sitting in the trees, cutting trees in 90 degrees. You know how happy I am out to be here, to be working and to be bringing home money and to be able to give money to my family and to be useful to society and be happy with Frank, who hired me at this place. And I got out of 46 months of chemo. I never said this to you on the air, but 4 years ago, they told me, or in 2020 during COVID, they said I had a very bad form of cancer, both in the intestine and in the bladder. And they said, you got to go through 46 months of BCG treatments. And Chris, I vowed to get through that for two reasons. I said, God, help me. Please help me. It's important that I see my kids. And I want to go back and be a human being. I'll do anything. Well, I deferred all these doctors telling me to go on OxyContin for pain. I'm no hero, man. I just want to live. I want to be happy. I want to live and work, get in the heat, talk to my buddies. And when I listen to AOC, you are smitten with stupidity, Miss AOC, whoever you are. If you want to be the most powerful person on the planet, God help the world, because we will be in jeopardy from day one. You are one of the most ignorant people I've ever seen. But
the crazy part is like she would actually have a shot. I could see a lot of the Democrats getting behind her, because she used to be one of the more radical ones, but since the left has moved so far to the left, she seems more reasonable and moderate compared to some of these lunatics.
Well, Chris, I'll tell you, the point that you're making on the radio today about the Republicans not doing their jobs, dragging their feet on the SAVE Act, I'll have a message to all the Tennessee people up here in Canada. You want to vote? You got to show up with a card. It's called an election card. And on that card, it says your name, where you live, and you get it 30 days before the election. And when you get to the polling station, you got to produce a passport saying you're Canadian or a driver's license from Montreal or Quebec.
Whoa.
And it's got to have, or you got to bring a bill from a utilities company with your name on it and your address. Then they vet you. When you walk in, they vet you. They cross your name out. And then you go to the polling station inside. You don't even get into the polling station. Then they bring you in. And then there's 3 lawyers from 3 major parties sitting there just in case there's a beef. And I used to do that job in the provincial elections, which are the state elections. So I don't know what's wrong with ID. I don't understand the Republicans being afraid that somehow you're going to lose votes, or the Democrats, unless you want to cheat.
Exactly.
They continue to cheat. Okay?
Yep.
Because here in Canada, a federal election starts in Halifax and Nova Scotia, and by that time, that time frame, that time zone changes to Central Time in Toronto and Winnipeg. The election is already called. We already know the winner on that day, not 14 days later, not 6 months later, not 700,000 votes coming in at midnight, postmarked, all this garbage, nonsense. You wake up, United States. You're supposed to be the top of the world, goddammit. It's unbelievable listening to this horse patooey stuff. Like, you guys are ruining yourselves.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Tony, and I appreciate the call, and my heart goes out to you. I didn't realize Canada was dealing with that level of fascism. You know, it's awful. IDs to vote? I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Yeah, they do want to cheat. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. And I think they would cheat their way into an AOC presidency if they could make it happen. And it does look like she's running for president. She was asked over the weekend what she's thinking about. Is it a 2028 presidential campaign? Is it a Senate campaign? A lot of people have talked before the president stuff that maybe she would be eyeballing Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. You know, old Chucky, he doesn't fit with the new Democrat Party. He happens to be too old and too white for the new Democrats. So obviously AOC, she's neither of those things. So she would be a great replacement. Plus she's female. But now maybe she set her sights a little bit higher.
I mean, I'm focused on winning the midterms. I'm running for Congress right now.
But I mean, do you see this as something? I know you said you're open to it. Is it a realistic possibility for you?
I haven't ruled out the possibility, and I'm very humbled to the tremendous amount of support out there. I think that we have a responsibility to remain focused on the midterms and not on our individual aspirations or plans.
And running
stunning and brave
for Senate against Chuck Schumer, is that also something that's possible?
I mean, I think that anything is possible at this juncture.
Anything's possible. It's like Kevin Garnett when the Celtics won the championship in 2008. Maybe you get the reference, maybe you don't. Anything's possible. Listen, she is a rabid leftist lunatic. She's perfect for the Democrat Party, actually. She fits right in. And they'll be able to position her as the more reasonable, moderate type, a la Abigail Spanberger. But it's important to point out that everything these radical leftists believe in, AOC believes in it herself. Abolishing borders, defunding the police, getting rid of prisons, the pathway to amnesty for the millions upon millions of illegal aliens that we have in this country, the D.C. and Puerto Rico as states, so we get 4 Democrat senators, the packing of the Supreme Court, getting rid of the Electoral College, on and on and on and on. This is what they believe in. And she's a card-carrying member of the Democrat Socialists of America. Now, people will say, no, she's not. No, she legitimately is. This is her in her own words.
But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy. And we believe in the ballot box. We believe in respecting the outcomes of elections and governing democratically.
Not fans of voter ID, though.
And ensuring that the ideas and policies that are implemented are won through popular vote and popular opinion. And so I think that's why so much of what we focus on is also making sure that we are providing for the majority of Americans, guaranteeing health care, raising wages, strengthening the right to a union. And I think that that's at its core what we're about.
Are you still a member of Democratic Socialists of America?
Of the New York City chapter.
The New York City chapter, not the national.
No.
Yeah, of the New York City chapter, yes. Yes. We believe in the popular vote. Hey, fun fact, Donald Trump won the popular vote. So should you get behind the orange man? No? No, weird. AOC is ecstatic about the socialist takeover of America. She wants to be one of the leaders of the socialist takeover of America. And she said as much over the weekend with Jonathan Karl on ABC, talking about how these young, inspiring, exciting wins are really shaping the future of the Democrat Party.
What does Abdel El Sayed's victory in Michigan say about the future of the Democratic Party?
I think that we are in a time of renewal for the Democratic Party, and it's tremendously exciting for all of us, for the big tent of the Democratic Party.
Big tent.
We have really an ascendance of a young, inspiring, exciting electorate, energizing wave of candidates that I think really inject a new energy to the Democratic Party and add to the toolbox of candidates that we have to win the midterm elections, hopefully in November.
It's a lot of tools in the box, for sure. It's exciting. It's energetic. It's a big tent party. We are even so big tent that people that hate America are allowed in the tent. That's how big tent they are now in the new Democrat Party. In fact, on the Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed front, he's been campaigning with Hassan Piker. And if you're not aware of Hassan Piker, he is a radical leftist streamer. He is called for seeing the blood of capitalists in the street. He's a lunatic. He's an absolute lunatic. He actually said that America deserved 9/11. This is who Hassan Piker is. This is the people that fit under the new big tent of the Democrat Party. And AOC is pretty much fine with him being there.
Another person who's been made an issue is Hassan Piker, who obviously endorsed Abdul El Sayed in Michigan. You've been on his live stream, at least a few times. He's somebody who said, that America deserved 9/11. Now he backed off from that.
Yes, he's apologized.
But he said a lot of controversial things. Is he somebody that should have a role in the progressive movement going forward?
I love how even Jonathan Karl kind of like hedges. He moved off of that. He did move off of that. Yes. He totally apologized. Does that have a space in the new Democrat Party?
I think when we look at our elections that have happened, we have lost young people. Much hay was made about the fact that we lost young men in the last election.
Yeah, Tim Walz was supposed to bring those guys in.
And many of the same consultants that are wringing their hands today were the same ones talking about how we need to go on Joe Rogan and we need to be not so, willing to engage in cancel culture.
So as she's going through this word salad, do you hear Jonathan Karl in the background? He's like, right, right. The mainstream media is literally the propaganda wing of the Democrat Party, and you can hear it in this answer as he's just nodding along. Right. We can't engage in cancel culture. And
I think that the flip-flopping on this is a tactical debate that they may be having. I think the fact of the matter is that Democrats can go on Joe Rogan, Democrats can go on Fox News, Democrats have a responsibility to build a winning coalition, and young people are engaging in mediums and conversations that we have a responsibility to attend to and be responsive to. And even right now, when we look at this insurgent wave of what is happening, oftentimes when people are doing that Monday morning quarterbacking and what demographics voted where, the big one that's being ignored is the generational tidal wave. Tsunami.
You see it in the polling. It is significant.
Millennials are not, punk kids anymore.
Yeah.
We're grown adults with mortgages and kids.
Well, she'll have kids soon. She froze her eggs. Stunning and brave. She says a lot of words there, and she doesn't answer the question. We're not going to engage in cancel culture, even with people that, hate everything about America. Let's have capitalist blood turn the streets red. America deserved 9/11. It's a big tent party. We're not going to cancel anybody. Okay. That's AOC. That's the future front runner for the Democrats in 2028, right? Like it's going to be her, isn't it? She's like slimy Gavin Newsom without as much baggage. There's some baggage, don't get me wrong. Not as much. They're going to prop her up. They are absolutely going to prop her up as best they can. We got some more comments on the way. Ilhan Omar was in the news as well, and she was out there defending Abdul El Sayed also. And then CNN had Tim Scott on, and they're like, you guys keep calling him Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed. Is that because you want to remind people he's Muslim? It's like, maybe. We'll talk about that next, too. 11:23, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I'm giving my personal seal of approval on everything they're doing over there. These guys are the absolute best, untouchable, especially when it comes to the tech. And Dr. Mitchell, he never stops working. This guy designed the incredible brand new Medical Bay 1. Picture this. You're relaxing in what feels like an Artemis medical spaceship while you get massaged. Your body gets hit with full red and near infrared lasers, and you got photon wavelengths stimulating your stem cells to regenerate tissue at the cellular level. It's going to work because it's lighting up your cells the way God intended them to light up. About half your visit will be soaking up that next level healing. The other half will step inside their powerful non-surgical spinal decompression. No surgery, no painful injections, no doctor eager to write you a script for opioids. That's not their style. They just want to get you back to a pain-free life the non-surgical way. Right now, they're offering the Epic Spinal Special, $33 off each visit. Epic healing going on at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Go to painisbad.com today. That's painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009. Pull out your phone, pick which way you want to go, painisbad.com or 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com.
Metro Police investigating after a child was wounded in a shooting at an East Nashville residence, and a Middle Tennessee veteran is challenging this new hemp THCA ban. She's got a petition that is circulating. We'll tell you about that and more coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can listen on all the apps, the FM dial. You can find us on YouTube and Rumble. I mentioned earlier, my wife, she wants to start doing country theme nights for food. So, like, we're going to have, Italy night or Ireland night, right? And I said, if we don't get the likes and subscribes up, we're just going to be stuck on North Korea night. Hit like and subscribe. Appreciate you. What? The kids started crying, and I was like, deal with it. Like, this is out of my hands. I'm hungry too.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Will you eat the dogs and eat the cats?
No. We're saving that for Haiti night.
Okay.
Saving that one.
Just wanted to make sure. Keep it on theme.
We got to save some of the things, We can't do it all at once. We're
Haiti night.
We're gonna start slow, We'll have France night. We'll have some croissants,
What
Maybe
about snails?
Maybe. I've done it before.
If it gets down to it, yeah.
You can find them. They're free.
Got them in the yard.
They're free. We only eat American snails in my house.
American snails.
All right, so Hassan Piker, he's the radical leftist that has been campaigning with Abdul El-Sayed and more. Elon Musk amplifying Hassan Piker's comments that said, "We're going to destroy the white race. It's a big tent in the Democrat Party." Of course, Hassan's allowed in. Ilhan Omar, one of the other things that Hassan Piker said was that America deserved 9/11. Ilhan Omar is out there defending Hassan Piker over the weekend because, as you know, Ilhan Omar said that 9/11 was some people doing some things. So, of course, she's going to have a favorable view of Hassan Piker.
One powerful voice that has been a big topic of conversation is the left-wing streamer Hassan Piker. He's someone that you've campaigned alongside with. He put out a video backing your reelection today. There are moderate Democrats who have criticized Abdul El-Sayed for appearing on the campaign trail with him. What's your view of that criticism?
I mean, people, in a free country, people can have opinions about people who campaign with candidates. I certainly had my own criticisms of folks who campaigned, folks that were on the top of the ticket for us in 2024. Ultimately, we all put our heads down, try to get to voters, have the conversations that are necessary, because we're not able to have any kind of the changes that we want until we win.
That's what it's about. You're allowed to have those opinions as long as we win. As long as we win. It's 11:31, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Drivers, we've got a crash in Murfreesboro. It's 840 going eastbound there at Jefferson Pike. And then still showing one in Donaldson, Lebanon Pike there at McGavick Pike. Metro Police investigating after a child was wounded in a shooting at an East Nashville apartment complex. Officers responded. Actually, this was a duplex there in the 1600 block of Trutland Place just before 2:30 this morning. Investigators say someone fired several rounds into the home, striking the child in the leg. That child is going to recover, fortunately. No arrests have been announced. A Middle Tennessee veteran says these new state hemp regulations are limiting access to products she relied on to treat symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Christy Madore telling News 2 that THCA gummies and vapes helped control pain, muscle spasms, and sleep problems without returning to opioids. State lawmakers say the restrictions were needed to address concerns about intoxicating hemp products sold under current laws. But she says she wasn't using it just to get high and had stocked up before the law took effect, but is now running out.
I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know what I'm going to do when that runs out. Because one, I don't want to go back on opiates.
Madore now circulating a petition urging Tennessee officials to revisit the changes. That is at change.org, reverse Tennessee's ban on hemp products. And at least 20 people are dead after a massive earthquake in Colombia. The magnitude 7.4 quake hit this morning about 150 miles west of the capital city of Bogota. ABC's Lama Hassan has more.
Posting on social media, the governor of Choco region, where the epicenter of the quake is, she says that there are injuries and severe damage to some buildings, adding that they are now concerned about aftershocks. And of course, don't forget that this comes after those recent deadly twin earthquakes that hit neighboring Venezuela that has killed more than 6,100 people.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
"37 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Get the likes up, get the subscribes up over on YouTube. We appreciate you helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It really does help us. There's a ceiling on where the FM dial can go. There's no ceiling on the internet. unless we do something that gets us in trouble. Like that one time where we showed all the firearms. Or that other time. Well, no, when we showed the beheading, we didn't get in trouble. But there was one time we talked about vaccines that we got in trouble. The rules don't make any sense, if we're being honest. It's very confusing. But if we get more likes up, it's harder for them to ban us. Find us on Rumble as well. At this time every single day, we jump into a little thing we like to call the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
All the stories that we didn't get a chance to get to, stories that wouldn't fill a whole segment, and more. Sometimes it's just stuff that my wife is like, is that really show prep? And I said, absolutely it is. 11:39. We do it every day. It works every time. It's called the lightning round. All right, so I had this one. I was teasing this earlier, but this, again, that we ran out of time, but let's do it now. Abdul El Sayed. He's the guy that won the Democrat nomination for Senate in Michigan. But his real name on his birth certificate, not that you know where that is, but it's Abdul Rahman Muhammad El Sayed. And CNN was interviewing Tim Scott out of South Carolina. And they're like, well, are you just using his full name to hint, remind everybody that he's Muslim? And it's like, I don't know. Even if we weren't using his full name, his name is Abdul. It's kind of a giveaway. You know what I mean? Have you met many Abduls that were not Muslim? I don't know. But this is CNN.
For certain is that Abdul Saeed El Sayed is making it easier. Why? Because he is inconsistent with Michiganders of either side of the aisle, by the way. Someone who wants to defund police, defund ICE, who wants to abolish our concept of a border. He's just wrong for Michigan.
And I saw your early attack ads against him. You're using his full name in these attack ads, which has gotten some attention. Abdul Rahman Muhammad El Sayed. He goes by Abdul El Sayed. Are you trying to say hint to voters he's Muslim?
Not at all. What we're only saying to voters is a simple thing. He says he's the most dangerous candidate you can find. He's right. We should trust his words, not ours.
But I wish Tim Scott would have just been like, yep. That's exactly what we're doing. Why not? Like, what? Yeah, you should. You should remind him. Absolutely. Especially in Michigan. I mean, the Muslim population in Michigan doubles the Jewish population, but the Jewish population is not small. Yeah, remind everybody who he is. Also, I think it's hilarious because just over the weekend, Abdul Rahman Muhammad El Sayed, he's on Meet the Press, and he was using Barack Obama's full name, Barack Hussein Obama. And I wonder if it was the same political calculus. Is it hint, he's a Muslim? Is that what Abdul Rahman Muhammad El Sayed was going for?
Well, let me ask you about some news that we are learning this morning. Local outlets reporting that you spoke to former President Barack Obama on the phone. I know you're not going to give me every detail of the call, but what was the crux of his message to you?
If you're not watching on Super Talk TV, like, she's just like so giddy. She's like, I know you're not going to give me every detail of the call. She's like cheesing, grinning from ear to ear. You see that picture of her? She's like, oh my gosh, you got on the phone with Barack Obama? That is so cool, Abdul. What did he say? He said, nice clock. Oh, that's so weird. Did he think you were you think you were someone else? That's so weird. Tell us about the call with Barack Obama. That is so cool, Abdul.
Well, Kristen, you're right. I like to keep private conversations private, but it was a really warm and inspiring conversation. I got to be honest with you, I never saw myself ever able to run for public office. I literally told former President Bill Clinton that at my college graduation, in which I was the senior speaker and he was the main speaker. And I then watched the next year Barack Hussein Obama run for and win the presidency.
Whoa, bro. Barack Hussein Obama? Whoa. Are you trying to Hint, hint. Tell people he's Muslim or something? That's crazy. Don't say that stuff. Don't say that. All right, got another story right here in the light round.
Another one.
I just think it's funny because, like, rules for thee, but not for me, right? Like, everybody gets so up in arms if Trump says Barack Hussein Obama. But Abdul can do no wrong, right? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like, he's allowed to use the full name. It's no big deal. All right. Let me see what I got. Let me see what I got here. Thank you. I don't know. I'm more curious about this story. Some people are really upset about this. But I'm like, I wish I could get inside these guys' minds. Florida business owners accused of dumping 1,500 mothballs on the beach to deter imperiled birds. Yep. Pair of business owners in St. Petersburg, Florida, are accused of dumping mothballs on the beach to deter state-listed imperiled birds from nesting on the beach in an area behind their business. A lot of mothballs. They scatter them to scare off endangered birds. Breitbart had the story, but there's a local news in Tampa Bay reporting on this.
Two St. Pete Beach business owners are under arrest tonight, accused of targeting a critical seabird nesting area. State wildlife officers say 1,500 mothballs were scattered near the Plaza Hotel back in April. That's just before imperiled black skimmers were expected to nest. Fox 13's Jennifer Veglas explains the evidence FWC laid out today.
It was a jarring case from the start, but even more surprising. The owner of the Plaza Hotel and the hotel's beach bar are both accused of being behind it, claiming the black skimmers were hurting business.
Whoa. Sorry. Insert inappropriate racial joke here. I won't. Leave that to your own imagination. They were tired of the black skimmers showing up at their business.
Just outside the Plaza Hotel, this colony of state-protected imperiled black skimmers is nesting peacefully. But Lisa Reich, Audubon bird steward and CEO of the Coastal Wildlife Advocacy Group, says it was a close call when, in April, 2 mornings in a row, volunteers found a total of 1,500 mothballs scattered near this known nesting area just 1 week before the birds were expected to arrive.
And everybody went out there and collected hundreds and thousands of mothballs.
For months, FWC investigators pieced together what happened using surveillance video, receipts, text messages, and cell phone data that linked the owner of the Plaza Hotel, Robert Cezanne, to a $60 purchase of mothballs at a Walmart.
Incriminating text messages between Mr. Cezanne and a second individual indicated they did not want the birds nesting behind the hotel, and they were going to do something to prevent that from happening.
That second suspect is Chris Monroe, owner of Chris's beachside bar located at the plaza.
It's got to be the most embarrassing thing to be arrested for, right? It's pretty bad. Like, you're in jail, right? What'd you do? Knocked off a bank. What'd you do? Knocked off a bread truck. What'd you do? I went after the birds. Which ones? The black skimmers. Whoa. I wouldn't mess with that guy. Would you?
Cell phone tower data placed him at the same location as Mr. Cezanne on both nights prior to the mothballs appearing on the beach.
FWC Captain Matthew Della Rosa read one text exchange between the two men.
I'll read it verbatim. Said, quote, "Why didn't you tell me? We lose $25,000 to $50,000." And that's in reference to these birds being on the beach.
The FWC says Pinellas beaches are home to 10% of the estimated 6,800 black skimmers in Florida. And disruptions like this could be detrimental, delaying breeding season.
So then you run into potential larger storms at the end of our hurricane season that can wipe out a colony if those young birds haven't fledged yet.
Reich says these arrests send a clear message.
Birds over people, right? That's the message? You're allowed to lose $50,000 a month because we prefer the birds over you. I do I wouldn't be like dumping mothballs on the beach. Don't get me wrong. But I do feel bad for the business owners. Tired of these birds crapping everywhere, acting like they own the place. Not a fan. If those birds were real, I'd be very upset. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. In the lightning round?
No!
I take offense to this story personally.
Oh, yeah?
A trans-Canadian flight was canceled this week because the toddler decided to not buckle up. It's not like a flight full of trans people. Just in case you are wondering. I'd be like, I get why the toddler doesn't want to buckle up in that situation. Get me off this plane. That mother lover's not real. It's like, yeah, I know. All right, so the Porter Airlines Flight 444, it was going from British Columbia to Toronto when the child refused to sit down and buckle their seatbelt. The aircraft was in the middle of taxiing during its scheduled departure from Victoria International Airport at 10:30 when the trouble began, and a flight attendant noticed the toddler was not complying with the rules to keep everyone safe. How does the toddler being buckled or not buckled affect anyone else's safety? Can you tell me that? It doesn't. I understand it could affect the toddler's safety, but it doesn't affect everyone's safety. And that flight attendant clearly doesn't have kids because you would have just looked the other way and been like, okay, yeah, just do your thing. It's 10:30 at night. This poor adult has been running around the airport all day long with a toddler, and they're just trying to get home. Probably the last flight of the day, right? Just let them get back to Toronto. Nope. The airline told Fox a young child was standing in their seat and would not secure their seatbelt. The aircraft could not take off in this unsafe condition, so the crew elected to return to the terminal and have the passengers disembark. But by the time the child and the parent were removed from the aircraft with their belongings, flight plans were refiled, and the necessary paperwork was completed. The clock had become the next problem. The process stretched beyond 12:30 a.m. when YYJ's runway closes for the night, meaning the remaining passengers weren't going anywhere either. Up to and including the flight attendants and the pilots, by the way. Like, they're not kicking everybody else off the flight and then going on to where they want to go. They have to stay overnight too because some flight attendant couldn't look the other way. It's insane. The airline's website said a child safety seat or restraint is mandatory for a child under 2 who are occupying a seat. Transport Canada highly recommends the use of an approved child restraint for all phases of the flight. It provides the highest degree of protection for your infant or child, and its use during the flight will help in the case of unanticipated turbulence. I feel bad for the people on the flight. I feel really bad for the mom or the dad in this situation. I feel really bad for the toddler. That flight attendant, absolute Nazi. It's like the person who's like, is your phone in airplane mode? It's like, dude, come on. What are we doing here? Airplane mode doesn't do anything anyway, by the way. Just in case you're keeping score at home. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. Shenanigan! You're just hitting all the wrong buttons. Did you?
All over the place today.
Are you trolling me?
No.
Are you sure?
No!
Okay. I'll allow it. The master of disguise got caught. That's this story.
Uh-oh.
I know.
Dana Carvey?
No. Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Mitch.
It's an elite reference.
Love that movie.
A Georgia man known as the Master of Disguise now faces federal charges for allegedly robbing, we're not sure, allegedly robbing 10 Atlanta area businesses at gunpoint in what authorities called a reign of terror. Federal authorities arraigned Tracy Darrell Mingo, 33, of College Park, late last week on 20 federal counts tied with the alleged robberies, which took place between October of 2025 and January of 2026. During his months-long reign of terror, Mingo allegedly endangered the lives of more than a dozen store employees across 10 different locations by robbing them at gunpoint. He continued, U.S. Attorney Theodore S. Hertzberg, I am proud of the collaborative efforts of the FBI and our local police partners to identify Mingo and arrest him before anyone was seriously hurt. So this guy was showing up, and he would be dressed up as like a security officer, and he was dressed up as like a construction worker. He was dressed up as a healthcare worker. One night, he looked like he was dressed up as a jogger. Between October 20th, 2025, and January 1st, 2026, he robbed 10 Circle K, Subway, and Family Dollar stores in the Atlanta area. Which, like, if you're going to be a serial robber, here's one of the things. Like, and I don't know, I'm not trying to give ideas. But if robbing's my business, you know what I mean? At a certain point, wouldn't you graduate up a little bit? Like, you knock off a few Circle Ks, you start feeling pretty good. Wouldn't you go to, like, a jewelry store, you know? Or a bank? Especially if you're being known as the master of disguise. I feel like you would. But he didn't. He just stuck with Subways, Family Dollars, Circle Ks. They were located in College Park, Decatur, East Point, Fairburn, Marietta, Union City. In each of these incidents, he allegedly entered the store late at night after all or nearly all of the customers had left, robbed the store at gunpoint, and he wore different disguises during the robberies. Construction worker, healthcare professional, security guard. The FBI and law enforcement partners found and arrested Mingo on January 2nd, 2026. When it appeared, he was putting on the same security guard disguise used in the robbery of a Circle K store the night before. The news of Mingo's arrest and his methods for committing the robberies led to media outlets calling him a master of disguise. If convicted, Mingo faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 63 years in prison. 63 years in prison. If you rob 10 of those stores, right? There's no way, if it's late at night, that any of these drawers had more than $1,000 in them.
No.
So just let's say on the bright side, let's say he lucked out. Every single drawer had $2,000 in it. Would you trade 63 years in prison for $20,000? No. Master of disguise, but not good at thinking ahead. Not good at thinking ahead at all. All right, that does it for the lightning round. Real quick, I got to tell you about my friends over at the Glock store. It's back, baby. Force on Force training. I've done this. It's fantastic. You're going to want to do it too. You have an opportunity Saturday, September 19th. 2 classes available, 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. Each class starts with a briefing on current Tennessee laws and event parameters, such as the safe word. Yeah, you're going to need a safe word. And then you're going to get some intense, realistic, live-action scenarios to test your marksmanship and split-second decision-making. 2 different scenarios per student with professional performance evaluation after each scenario. Evaluations based on new Tennessee firearm laws. You're going to talk about your experience, and you're going to tell all of your friends about this because it's amazing. I've done it myself. You go in, you're not really sure of the situation. You just kind of know the gist of it. Like you're walking in and you notice your home has been broken into. Are there 1 armed individuals inside your home? Is there 2, 3? Is everybody armed? When is lethal force justified? This is what you're going to learn in the Force on Force training. Only 15 slots available per session, so you need to reserve yours now before they sell out. Saturday, September 19th, 9:30 and 2 o'clock. You're going to test your skills. You're going to learn a lot. Glockstore.com/FOF. Glockstore.com/FOF.
Times are tough. Absolutely, I agree. Now, if you need a new truck or a minivan, maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection, terrific pricing as well. Mid-10 Ford, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. They can help you save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, I like to say that they're a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there at Mid-10 Ford. You can get it serviced. They have a body shop as well. So you want a brand new or a pre-owned vehicle, you can check out all of the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service if you show up at their business, 1319 Foster Avenue. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So, yeah, they do know how to treat customers. So let them help you get into your next vehicle. Again, low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. Find them online, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.